So now I'm gonna show you how to use the Geogebra software to do the MathLab at 2.2. So first we pick the first question in group 1 on page 101. So we can input the function this way in this box. So you can input this way equals y equal bracket x square this way minus 1, then divided by another bracket x plus 1. Okay, now the bracket here is very important, otherwise it won't be the way it is. If when you hit enter, you can see that's exactly the one and we're supposed to do. So now it's being named fx, so then later on you can refer to this function, just simply use f. Okay, so the function is already graphed. It looks like a straight line, but this function is not really a straight line. And what's the difference between a straight line and a function like this? Is actually, if you examine all the points, you're gonna find that there is a hole right here, because x is actually cannot be -1, right? If x equals -1, you can see the denominator becomes 0, so the function becomes undefined. So basically the domain for this function is all the real numbers except x equals -1. So x equals -1 becomes a non-permissible value. So you can see, of course, you can sketch the graph. There's no asymptotes, no vertical asymptote or horizontal asymptote. So now, if you want to find out it is really there is a hole here, so you can use the function here. Click this one, and yeah, I think it's here. So then check the function inspector and select the function. So you're gonna see a table here. So there are a bunch of points listed here. So including the -1. You can change the step and change the interval. So what if we want to look at a bigger interval? So from -2, for example, to +2. And then if you can hit the points to check back the points, right? If you don't want to, if you only want to see the stepped being 0.5, so you get less points, right? So starting from -2 to +2. And if you see here, when x equals -1, so the yx, the function is actually, they put a question mark, means it's undefined, right? And you can tell from here as well, there's not not a point at this place. So that explains, we can graphically inspect where is the non-permissible value. Okay, so now let's turn this off. Okay, and then try another function. Let's take the first one in group 2. So this one is 3x divided by, put a bracket, and x minus 1. So enter. So this time I didn't put y equal, so they will automatically give a name at gx, right? So the 3 is put here, as there's no difference between the 3 here and like the original one 3 on the top, right? Okay, now you can tell this function, the graph is quite different. There's 2 arms, right? One here, one here. And then if you change the scale, click this one, and just move farther away, right? Now you can tell looks like we have a vertical asymptote here and horizontal asymptote here, right? To find out exactly what the asymptote is, of course you can simply look at it as a function, right? But here we not try not to get into too much into the algebra now, so we just use the technology to help us to find out the asymptote. So we can do this way, asymptote. So when you type as, so they will show the function here. So we can just click this and then replace the function area with the gx, like this. And then you can see there's a list created. So one is y equals 3. So let's move a little bit closer the window and put it in the middle. So you can see y equals 3 is the line right here. So this is the horizontal line, y equals 3, which is the horizontal asymptote of this function. So you can record this into your table. Vertical or horizontal asymptote is y equals 3. And another one is x equals 1. So this is a vertical asymptote, right? As you can see. Okay, so and then what is the non-permissible value? Obviously, whenever there is a vertical asymptote, means that's the value x. The x cannot be. So x equals 1 means actually that's the value for x, which is a non-permissible value, right? So asymptote meaning is it's a line where the graph can never ever touch it. So that exactly means this is the non-permissible value of x. Okay, so you can sketch the graph. The vertical asymptote is x equals 1. Horizontal asymptote is y equals 3. Non-permissible value of x is x equals 1. Okay, let's turn this off again. So let's try another function in group 3. So let's try the first one again in group 3. So equals 6 divided by x squared plus 2. Okay, so this is very different. You can see the graph is symmetrical. Symmetrical is because when x and equals positive and negative, they should have same value. From you can tell from this equation, right? And do we have asymptote? Vertical asymptote? It doesn't look like, because actually the domain for this function is everything. Okay, all real numbers. We don't have any trouble to getting 0 on the denominator, right? So, but looks like there's a horizontal asymptote, which is exactly the x-axis. So if you want to find it out using the feature in this software, so you can simply type as, and then you pick the function here, and then the function is highlighted here, so you just simply type h. Okay, so you create another list equals y equals 0, so that's exactly the x-axis. So for this one, you sketch the graph, right? You can take a closer look, right? And the vertical asymptotes, no vertical asymptote. And horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. And there's no non-permissible values for x. Okay, so that's just a quick overview about how to use GeoGebra software to do the MathLab.